Good evening, CineNerds. I'm Ryan.
I'm JP.
Did you forget your name for a minute?
No, it was a
Pause for dramatic effect.
dramatic pause.
Outstanding. Well, what did I subject you to for this one?
So Ryan chose I'm assuming I shouldn't do that.
Jesus
Ryan,
Christ.
I'm in rare form now.
Yeah.
Ryan chose the DC comic
It's odd to think about, right?
V for Vendetta, which I say that because there's going to be a little bit for me to say about that. So,
Well, isn't it actually Vertigo?
Yeah, but DC,
Originally, DC just
DC, but it's still DC. So it's all Alan Moore.
Well, what's your if you can remember your initial impression or your impression of this rewatch?
So and the weird thing is I don't remember a lot of my initial first time. This is one I remember seeing. It was on my radar when it was in the theater, but I didn't watch it in the theater. And it was a while after this movie came out. Now, I won't say it was years and years, but it was probably at least a year or so after it hit DVD before I watched it. And man, when I watched this movie, I was like, why did I wait to watch this fucking film? Because, oh my God, this film was fucking incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one I've watched numerous times through the years. And the thing with this film, I will say, is this film is not one that I can put on multiple times a year. However, I can watch this film once a year, or every other year, and fucking love it. And watching it this time, it's just the same. I sat down. It had probably been a year, maybe 2 years since I've watched it, and it was just like, yeah, this movie is so fucking good. Why can't more comic book movies be this fucking good?
Yeah, this one was done right. And my initial impression, I'm going to tell everyone what I told JP when I chose this. So I might have watched this twice when it first came out. And it's one of those movies that for some people, it's probably a one watch and done. You get the point. But those two viewings definitely stayed with me. And so this, from the first time this came out in 2005, fast forward 20 years later, I'm watching it again for the first time, essentially. So on rewatch, I remember the basics. I remember how it stayed with me. I remember the feeling I felt when I left it. But the rewatch, though, left me feeling even more impressed by this movie, which sadly, throughout this episode, just like another episode we had a couple weeks back, sadly, there will be some political aspects and undertones in this review. So I'm sorry if I put off anyone, but it's just got to be addressed because this movie's too relevant.
Well, this movie is completely political.
I mean, it is, but it's not too, because this is really it's a revenge story if you really get into it, but it has to do with the corruption of government because of that. So, all right, let's dig in then.
All right, so this film is based on an Alan Moore novel, and I'll just go ahead and read a quick synopsis. We didn't do that for Natural Born Killers because you know what?
We jumped right into that one really fast, and we started talking about all the different things.
Yeah, we jumped right into that one. So, quick synopsis: in a distant future, Evey Hammond is an average citizen in the United Kingdom, which under the rule of the fascist and tyrannical Norse Fire Party. She is it feels like this plot is skipping some stuff. It says your main character, which is Evey, is an employee of the state-run British television network, but soon she becomes the number one enemy of the state, together with an enigmatic and larger-than-life freedom fighter known only by the letter V. V informs Evey that she must hide in his underground lair for at least 1 year. And while she is reluctant to the idea, a bond soon forms between the two individuals, and in the meanwhile, the mysterious past of V is gradually revealed. The police inspector tasked with capturing him, Eric Finch, and it's not too long until he starts questioning everything the government stands for. Now, there's a lot more to the plot than what's in that plot summary on here, but it's kind of it's a pretty quick gist, but this film, like you were just saying, I mean, this film is very politically driven. It shows Big Brother at its worst, I guess, and with military police in the streets, curfews, complete government control of the media, people living in fear of, persecution, of being homosexual or different, or anything that doesn't align with their unity, and unity through faith. Is kind of one of the taglines. It's through unity and unity through faith, or something like that.
I don't know.
So is the tagline for
Make America Great Again
within the film.
Sorry.
And I gotta look that tagline up now.
Well, while you're looking that up, do you remember what the street level police were referred to as? What they were called? They were called the Fingermen.
Yeah, the Fingermen.
So there's a reason to that, but my joke is they were going around fucking everybody. But that aside, dystopian future, dictatorship, very evident. Almost the cross that they use as the symbol throughout this movie is almost reminiscent of Nazi Germany. But the secret police were called the Fingermen. I'm going to read this. This is from IMDb. It says the secret police were called Fingermen because the new order was arranged on the model of the human body. The Chancellor was the head. The television station BTN was the mouth. Visual and audio surveillance were the eyes and ears. Inspector Finch was part of the nose. The police force and Creedy's secret police were the hand. So clearly there was no heart. Literally, like that's just there. It's all so robotic and controlled in every aspect, and whatever is deemed out of pocket or not to their liking is deemed a threat and is attacked as in kind. So it and then side quest here, the main protagonist here, V, he is a product of this corruption and its early phases and its early form. So
yeah, the government tagline is strength through unity and unity through faith.
Yeah, I think you said that.
I missed the strength part. Yeah, I knew there was something else I was missing in it, and so I had to correct myself. What a fucking introduction with V. I mean,
can I just say right off the rip, part of the allure to the character. Now, mind you, I didn't read the comics. I just saw this movie. So the introduction to V, though, whenever I read a book or a character, I make their voice in my head, and when I see something on the big screen after the fact, if the voice doesn't match up, I get a little weary because I want it to be like accurate to me at least. The pronunciation that Hugo Weaving did for V and his articulation of speech, everything is just brilliant, and I fucking loved every aspect of all of his lines. I would happily take all of the quotes he says in this movie and make them into some kind of ringtone or alarm or anything. Just solid lines. I couldn't be happier with that.
Yeah, that whole introduction, he helps Evey. Evey's being attacked by the Fingermen, and they're essentially, I mean,
he was getting fingered.
They were getting handsy with her, and she was out after curfew. And V shows up, attacks these men, and then where it's even more interesting than the action sequences in this scene. Now, the action sequences in this scene are phenomenal. But the conversation he has with Evey in this scene, he starts. He looks at her, and I've got this open right now, so I'm going to read it. V says to her, "I can assure you I mean no harm." Evey, who are you? V, who is but a form following the function of what am I is a man in a mask. She goes, "Well, I can see that." V, of course you can. I'm not questioning your powers of observation. I'm merely remarking upon the paradox of asking a masked man who he is.
Oh, yeah. It's excellent. And by the way, if it was your voice speaking for the actor, I would have not liked it at all.
No. But to hear Hugo say this
Yes.
is fantastic. Then it's followed up with him telling her his name, and I'm not even going to try to read this. I have this quote in front of me, and there's no way I could actually read this. I don't even know how Hugo said it in a monologue. But it's like a 100-word paragraph of pretty much every other word starts with the letter V that leads up to.
Oh, yeah. That was spectacular.
Yeah. And it leads up to him basically kind of doing the Zorro and taking a knife out and hitting the Strength of Unity poster and slashing a V in it.
And you can tell there's this weird, like he does, like when a dog hears a high-pitched noise, whenever she does something that fascinates him in those moments in the early thing, he tilts his head so you can see the mask kind of have a question, almost not like a Mike Myers tilt of the head, like this genuine curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that too. And like I have to go back, I have to use this as reference. Anytime I see an actor try and use a mask to convey their emotions, convey their thoughts. My starting point in life was Return of the Jedi, where Luke's getting electrocuted by the Emperor and Vader's torn. He's looking back and forth, and there's emotion in the bubbles on that mask. And I felt that with this character, there's just something that he conveyed when he wasn't even speaking that was just so good.
Well, I read that. And this may kind of coincide with what you're saying with the Vader mask and doing a comparison of the Vader mask with V's mask. I read that they originally wanted to do different variations of the mask to show different types of emotions.
So did go
ahead.
What's the horror movie with the masks that are similar? Is it Thanksgiving?
Yeah, Thanksgiving.
Yeah, because they have different emotions on those masks. That's
so
interesting.
That was what I think was what I read. That was one of the original ideas, and to have like subtle differences to change the emotion within the mask variations. But then they decided against it, and how they decided to convey some of those emotions was lighting tricks to actually move lights, in certain ways across the mask. No different kind of you were talking about with Empire Strikes Back with the way Vader moves his head.
They did specific uplighting for that mask to illuminate the features. And yes, I'll give the lighting some credit there, but I definitely feel the actor needs to carry that
you got to have the actor to know how to tilt his head towards that lighting or away from the lighting to convey that emotion, on top of it. So, but to me, it sounds like it was kind of a very similar trick, that they did with V.
Side note. So you remember I told you I hadn't read the comics. I didn't know Alan Moore did From Hell and League of Extraordinary Gentlemen as well.
Yes.
So interesting fact about Alan Moore with this one, because it says, following his negative experience with From Hell and League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. By the way, I think From Hell is very overrated. I think JP disagrees. That's fine. I actually didn't mind League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. But going onward, it says Moore decided to reject all money and credit from Hollywood on any adaptations of his work. Thus, he gave all the money that he would have gotten to the artist who drew the character with him and rejected his own created by credit from the movie. Because he just knew that his previous two weren't received well and he didn't want to have any more association.
Yeah, and I knew this, and I remember this because... And I do agree. I'm not a big fan of From Hell. It's okay. I don't mind From Hell.
For some reason, I thought you liked that.
It's okay. I mean, it's it's not one of Johnny Depp's worst films, but it's not one of his best films either.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of a mid-ground movie, but it was a box office bomb. Alan Moore hated what the studio did with From Hell. And then you get to League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and I'm a fan of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen for dumb background film that I can have fun with, but the movie was atrocious compared to what Alan Moore's comics were.
I was going to go into that next.
And then it was a box office bomb. Alan Moore absolutely hated.
Yeah, because
hated what the studios did.
Again, I didn't read the book, but after reading this statement, I want to. In the original graphic novel, V's cause was anarchy, not freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Alan Moore is very critical of the movie for changing what he called the anarchy versus fascism structure of his graphic novel into what he saw as an exploration of American neoliberalism versus American neoconservatism. That should have been set in the U.S. instead of Britain, which is funny, too, because they also, in the movie, refer to us as the former United States because it's such a dystopian future. Basically, they're saying that this dictatorship has taken over basically everything. So it's kind of interesting to see how that all unfolds, too.
Yeah. No, he was so upset with Hollywood and Hollywood studios that he did not want his name attached to this film. Film's fantastic. It is different from his ideas, some of his ideas when he originally wrote this graphic novel, but I think the film's fantastic, and I think he made a mistake leaving his name off of this film. That's my personal opinion, but I also get where he was with Hollywood. He was so upset at the film studios, for butchering his writings.
So, but yes and no. So here's the thing. I love what this movie stands for regardless. And I love from what I'm reading, what his graphic novel stood for as well. Because either way, the underlying factor is that there's a problem and we, the people, need to address it. And so, like, if we just let these things go unchecked, there's no more checks and balances. There's none of that. We're being told what we can do, where we can do. And now, here come those politics. But now we've got, our own military coming into our cities, and they're holding people at gunpoint and taking over areas that they shouldn't be taking over from their own citizens. Yes, I understand the crime rate excuse and all that stuff too, but like this, at what point do we say enough's enough and you're out of line as a people? Because until we do that, this is going to continue to grow unchecked, and it's going to be a problem. And now we've got, if you burn the American flag, personally, I think you're a piece of shit if you burn the American flag, but it is your right as a citizen with freedom of speech to do so. And I don't care for it. It's not my cup of tea, but I'm not allowed to infringe on anyone else's rights. So I don't think a president should be signing executive orders saying what we can and can't do with our First Amendment right. So this movie is more relevant now, 20 years later, than it probably ever was in 2005. It's scary how relevant it is because, John Hurt plays a great dictator in this. I'll tell you, he just does great at whatever he's in. But it's eerie. It is eerie to who he resembles. I'll just say that.
Yeah, this it's super relevant to what's going on with today. Absolutely. And it's thought-provoking on, you need to make change, and we as a people need to make change. And I'm not going to sit here and say conservatives bad, Democrats bad, Republicans bad. I'm not going to sit here and talk about a two-party fucking system, and the thing that I think, and especially for how I feel about this movie is, you need to have government, but your people need to rise up against government when shit is not right. And right now, I don't care if you're a Democrat or you're a Republican, nobody's right. right now. Shit is not good right now. And when do we stop and say, look, we need to do what's right for the people, not for what I believe with this or what I believe with that. What is the best things for the people, and the way of life for people. And I don't think either side right now understands that. And so something needs to give. Change needs to happen.
I don't know who said this, but I want to say Henry Rollins said something to this extent, but it was something to the effect of politicians should wear their sponsors on their jackets like NASCAR has to, so we can see where their interests align. Because you know what, when these campaign funds are being accepted, and like I think the one guy from Ohio is trying to run for Senate, just recently talked about how he broke a record with the amount of money that he had gained. To me, like, you're not raising this money from the people. It's coming in from the large corporations. So now those people are expecting you to deliver for them. They're not expecting you to deliver for the people. So when your interests are no longer aligned with the people, that's where movies like this have relevance. That's where this movie makes you think twice. Like, could you imagine if every single citizen in this country got a V for Vendetta mask, showed up at their front door, mailed to them, everyone put it on, and you're walking towards armed forces, and armed forces in this movie, they happen to stand down. But what's to say they stand down? Like, where is this current government going to go? Are they going to open fire on their people? I mean, that's what we have to look at. When your own government that's built for the people, by the people, is not being representative of the people, there's a big fucking problem. So this movie has so much value in what it's saying now. Like, we talked about this 2 weeks ago on the Natural Born Killers episode. We talked about, like, Oliver Stone, when he built that movie, he built it with the intent of having media be exposed for what they throw at you and what you consume. Well, this movie is exactly that, because we're having all these divisive tactics given to us. Right now, we have people arguing over fucking white and black, eugenics, ads, Cracker Barrel. We've talked about this multiple times in recent weeks. We've got all these stupid things that are not relevant to what's important for us, because that's what they're force feeding us. And we have to address what's important to us and get back to a country that we can be proud of. And goddamn, I'll shut up on that note.
Stephen Fry, the talk show host in the film, and he was kind of a big deal at the time when this movie was done. He was kind of a big deal, especially in overseas in Britain. So it was a big getting him in this film, and he is so fucking amazing in this film. I
mean, he makes you want to hate him, that's for sure.
I don't hate him. I think he's great. The talk show host?
Yeah, who's like one of the corrupt people that led the whole building. Are we talking about the same guy?
No. The one that's opposing, the one that's being rebellious, the one that takes Evey in, the one that makes the whole skit with the president.
That guy. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. I'm thinking of the other guy. There's another corrupt talk show host that I was thinking of. That was one of the guys who was the foundation of all that corruption.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about Stephen Fry, the talk show host that does the like old British TV style skit with V showing up,
like Benny Hill.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of. Benny Hill.
Yeah. The Benny Hill show was hilarious at the time. But no, yeah, I like that. So I think you spoke to this too. So his character is a closeted homosexual out of fear of this oppressive government, and the sad thing is, that this is a moment like Nazi Germany again, where he has a wine rack and he turns the wine bottle and it shows this room that he has all of his things hidden. In this room basically they're like objects he's saved because he didn't want to see them destroyed. One of them, Natalie Portman even references, or Evey, she goes, "I thought that was destroyed. It was the God Save the Queen art piece," and she thought it was actually destroyed, and he said, "No, I saved the original." He has that there. He has an original Quran Bible, or whatever. I guess Quran is called a Bible, right? So, but he has one of those too, and all these things combined, ultimately, he does get in trouble for. But Yeah, that was a pretty amazing whole section.
Yeah.
And the fact that he stood by her too,
Yeah.
and like made sure she's okay, and then gave her that comfort to
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, you're safe here.
Yeah, and and he did the whole skit making fun of the president, and then the government comes in, and he's sitting here, what are they going to do? I'm going to have to make a public apology, blah blah blah. It'll be fine. We'll go up in the ratings, and then the government swarms his house, beats him, puts a hood over him, and takes him off. They find all of his stuff that he has hidden, his artwork and his Bibles and all this stuff that he had hidden. That you just spoke about. And then Evey gets captured and is being interrogated, but during these interrogations you find out that Stephen Fry's character has been executed for having all those possessions. And
I love the sequence after he airs that episode. He thinks that, what are they going to do, yell at me? He thinks that he's safe, and they just come right into his house and prove otherwise. But not only do they come into his house to take him, but Evey then has to relive a traumatic moment from her youth when her parents were dragged out of their house in the same way, where she's hiding under the bed when she was a kid, hiding under the bed as an adult, and when this character is getting taken, the same thing happened to her mom happens to this guy, and he gets taken out. So she's just already losing it, and that's part where she tries to run into safety, thinks she gets kidnapped by...
She's captured and she's interrogated for weeks, which you're led to believe is weeks or whatever, and told to give V up. And she finds this paper hidden in the wall in her prison cell. She starts reading it, and it's about the previous... it's a story that the previous cellmate, or person who lived in this cell, of how her life and how she got to where she was and how she ended up in this jail cell. And you find out that as this story unfolds, this female that was in this cell was in fact a homosexual, and it builds up with her family disowning her, and then her finally finding happiness, and then the government started rounding up homosexuals and gay, lesbian, and sending them to these basically concentration camps. And most of these people did not survive or were not going to survive. And during this whole time, the interrogation, they're telling Evey, as you have to give up V. Where is he at? We're going to kill you. You have until this date. And this leads up to this date when she finally finishes reading the story that this former prisoner, she is now no longer with us, and how she lost everything but stood to her values of who she was. And they bring Evey back to interrogation, and they tell her, "You're going to die today if you do not tell us." And she refuses. She actually takes a stand. It finally all rushes out of her, and she takes a stand and said, "We'll take her out back behind the shed, and we're going to shoot her." Then at this point, the door opens. She comes out, and she realizes she's been held here for weeks, interrogated and abused and everything, and it wasn't even the government. It was V putting her through what he had been through and so many others have been through.
So this part confused me a lot because of location. I didn't know if he rebuilt the cells in his hidden location under the subway or if they were all connected.
I think he had like a rebuild of kind of what it was.
Like, the overcritical thinker who looks into movies too much in me was like, man, how do you order all that fucking fertilizer without getting pinged? Man, how do you do this without getting pinged? Like I started, but then I'm like, Ryan, let it be a movie. Just enjoy it. Enjoy it. And that always makes things better. But we were talking about Gordon Dietrich, the gentleman that we were talking about that was the homosexual with the hidden artwork. interesting little tidbit, which I never noticed this, and I just was reading this in the little trivia area. But it says Evey mentions Gordon that that eggy in a basket, he's making a form of eggs for her for breakfast, is the same breakfast V made for her the first morning she spent in his place. She fails to mention or doesn't notice that Dietrich and V also greeted her in exactly the same way, not with good morning, but bonjour, mademoiselle. Also, Stan Getz is playing in the background in both instances. So that's interesting correlations because, like, what are they trying to allude to? Like
they were trying to allude to make Evey question, is this V? Because she doesn't know who V is.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
Yeah.
And really, he's this burn dude in a thong.
Yeah.
I have a reason why I'm saying that.
With super powers or super strength.
Super strength, I get, yeah.
Because of government testing, and you get a lot of the backstory with him that there was government testing, there was multiple of them, this place burnt down, he is severely burned, and he is going after he's killing these government officials and doctors and everybody who did this. His, kind of like Brian said at the beginning of this episode, where I see this as rising up against government, but it is a revenge story on top of that, and the revenge story is him getting revenge for what these people did to him and others. And so kind of like there's the minister, the Catholic Church minister, that he has Evey go in. And
by the way, if you're a Natalie Portman fan like I am, that is an excellent scene.
You find out that this Catholic minister or priest or whatever he is, he has a fetish for young girls in schoolgirl outfits, and so he becomes one of these victims. And there's one of the doctors, the female doctor that he poisons, that becomes another victim.
Well, the detective starts piecing all this together and understanding there's a correlation and how to map out who's next, and that's where things start getting interesting.
Yeah.
I mentioned the burnt guy with the thong thing, and that's just because the stunt guy who I just read this too. The stunt guy who
they had him gelled up.
Yeah, they had gel and a thong on this guy only. When the scenes you see with the guy raising his arms up in the fire, walking out of the fire, that was literally just gel and a thong, nothing else on that poor man. I would never risk that.
I would.
My biscuits.
Anything for entertainment.
Yeah, no. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that. So this movie has so many political undertones. And for me, the big takeaway here, as I already talked about, was just I just hope that our people in this country can see past differences and start making a stand for where it counts, whether it be at the voting booths, whether it be open discussions in public settings, so that we can start making government aware, like we can't stand for these things anymore, because I would hate to see it come to a violent scenario where there's actual full-on revolution, and I think that's the way this country's going. I mean, you have a president right now who is literally, and he's already sending out new campaign hats for a third term. His actual people who have already supported in the past are receiving these in the mail. So he's making a plan to run for a third term, despite what our declaration says, in only 2 terms with the president. So these checks and balances got to get back to the basics here and real quick, because I don't want this movie to become a reality. This movie is deep on many levels, and I'm here for it.
So, for me, one of the turning point for the people in this film. So there's this young girl that pops up through this entire film, that she kind of becomes, I guess, a fan of V.
Oh yeah.
And,
oh, dude, it's so twisted.
Yeah, and so she's going through and spray painting V over posters, and you see her throughout the film, and like you see her like watching these news reports on anything that happens with V, and throughout the entire film. And finally, towards the end of the film, V has orchestrated for replica mask of his V mask sent out to everybody in the city. And so this girl gets this outfit and the mask, and she is running through everybody, and one of the fingermen shoots and kills her. And this girl is, I don't know how old she probably 10, 11.
That's about right.
She's a pretty young girl. And so the people actually see this fingerman kill this young girl because she had a V mask on. And that to me, that was when the turning point in this movie for the people to rise up happens, because of this innocent child being killed by senselessly for just wearing a mask by this government military police.
That one was really deep. There's a lot of symbolism in that moment too. So not only that, but like we talked about when Evey was being held captive by V, but didn't know. He had placed that letter, because the letter was real from the woman who went through the things she went. He placed the letter in the cell for her to find, because that letter gave him hope when he was in there himself. And that's the roots of him, by the way. He came from that facility as well, from and all the people that were in line, and there's constant flashbacks of this facility and what went down there, and all the people being experimented on, and they've got sores on them, boils, things like that, green veins, all these things going on. So you don't know the extent of what's happening, but it's pretty bad. All of them have shaved heads. All of them are worse for wear. But as they're going down the line of the people, you see the faces as you get down the line, and in that line with those faces, you start having those characters present themselves along the way in the story. And that brings us full circle with this little girl. So as you progress, and should I say Evey at this point, executes his final farewell and his ability to allow the people to be free. When you see that come into fruition, and all the people that are have their masks on, all of a sudden start taking their masks off to look at the explosion of the main headquarters over there. Parliament. So when that's exploding and basically crumbling their government structure, all the masks are coming off, and the people standing in the crowd, and the people that have died along the way to make them get there, those people are standing in the crowd. And yes, it's just symbolic because they've already passed. We know that, but in those moments, that gave me chills, man. That was deep.
It's symbolic in the idea of the spirit of revolution is what the quote came from with that. And
because let's be honest, you can't have a revolution without the people willing to put the fight there.
Yeah.
And these people that they show the faces of, they're the ones who were pushing for that and hoping for a better tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty magical. The final fight sequence too,
with V,
yeah. And that like crazy head of the whatever the head of the I don't know, security or whatever he is,
something like that.
And this guy he's like basically the dictator's right hand, William Hurt's right hand. So he has access to get William Hurt, and so Evey and this guy, this head of security, have an interaction that V makes it on his terms. And when they do that, V comes in there and he meets him at the place just like he agreed. He said he'd turn himself over if the dictator was brought to him. And so the dictator comes in, and the head of security, he shoots him. It's pretty blunt and pretty. Oh no, wait. What?
Yeah.
The dictator does, or the security guy does,
yeah.
But doesn't I thought V does something to him too.
V does not kill him. V don't.
That's
do
right.
anything.
That's right. No, but V does tell them all that they're all stuck in there with him, and there's lots of them in there, with guns pointed at him, and they all open fire on him. And he had plates on, which at first viewing, I didn't know that. I'm like, wow, does he really have super strength? Is this like Superman shit? Like, what's going on?
And he does have super strength, but he's not impervious to bullets.
Yeah, no. But I like the way that. Like, so after you get done with that scene though, and the plate comes out, by the way, he handles all of them. But
he tells them, he's like, you pretty much better make sure I'm dead, because when you go to reload, I will kill all of you.
Yeah. So after the sequence is done though, the plate comes out, and he's just not whole. It took its toll on him, but he covered himself enough so he could get those kills done by taking that plate out, and it was pretty intense seeing him go from there to meet Natalie Portman at the subway car, which is what facilitates the explosion of Parliament. Really intense scenery right here too. Yeah. So this is kind of, to me, this is very Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, very.
So, she falls in love with him along the way. She falls in love with the beauty that he represents and the idea of what he represents and who he is as a person, it seems. And so much so that she doesn't insist on doing that Spider-Man bullshit where the mask kind of comes up and she kisses his burnt face and none of that. She just accepts the mask as him and she kisses the mask. And it's really kind of a powerful moment. So I enjoyed it, man.
Yeah, you see all these... all this dynamite, C4, fertilizer, all in this train. And, yeah, the symbolism with him passing and her laying him out on this train, putting the roses. And to me, it looked like the roses she's put them all around it, but then around his neck, it looked like she actually put the bottom of that into like a V. The detective shows up and tries to stop her, and she essentially says, "No, this is a time for a change," and
And he agrees. He takes a stance, and that was cool too to see this guy who's done nothing but be loyal to this government, finding out just the extent of their corruption and villainy. That he's like, "No, I won't stand for this anymore, and I'm with you."
And like one of my favorite lines, and this is what I was doing. I was trying to find it. I don't see it right off, but I can almost quote it. But she sends this train on, and this train is going to Parliament to blow Parliament up. And her and the detective go onto the roof, and as they're watching the Parliament explode, he looks at her and goes, "Who was he?" Asking who V really was, and Evey looks at him and she says, "He was my father." Then she pauses, and then she goes, and my mother, my brother, my sister, my friend. He was you. He was me. And I love that whole quote, and I love that whole scene. Is to me, it was. There's so many monologues and quotes in this movie that are fucking not just good, moving. They are movingly good, and that was just another one. And and the music. We've not even spoke about the music. The fucking music in this film, the score in this film was amazing. Like the score, start to finish in this film, was just, it built intensity. It built intensity and made moments more tense, and then it made other moments more exciting. Like the score that they put together for this film, start to finish, it keeps you on. To me, it made me feel like I was on the edge of my seat, start to finish, just because of the score.
Yeah, there's a lot of moments that like had my stomach like, wait a minute. Like, even though I'd already seen it, because the music kind of puts you there, it gives you that like you're that vested in it. So I agree. Yeah, it was a great score.
All right. Did you look at box office or budget?
I did not.
I did.
I've kind of stopped because the guessing games can become fun.
Okay. Well, I'll just stop asking, because there for a while I would have to ask you like, yeah, I did.
Well, no, yeah. Let's just. I think the guessing game's fun, but we should alternate it maybe going forward.
Okay. All right.
How
about you guys are here? The movies that you pick, you look at it, and the movies I pick, I look at it.
Sounds good.
We'll start doing that. So budget.
All right. Natalie Portman off the rip, 2005. I'm going to now go with 125 mil.
You're way high on these.
Jesus Christ! Really?
Yeah.
Okay. What was this one?
54 million estimated.
That's all right. 75 off. It's okay.
Yeah. It's not a $250 million comic book film that you get today.
Oh, so good though. So much better.
Yeah.
Like, this is the era to me of like this is afterwards, obviously, but The Crow. Mm-hmm. Like that. This is where comic book movies, I feel, mattered.
Yeah. Box office.
This one was really heavily marketed.
Mm-hmm.
If it had 50 mil budget, I think it did all right. I'm going to say 85 mil.
You're low.
See, I can't win. I can't win on some of these. So where am I?
You've done some where you have nailed these,
right, like almost on the spot.
Almost on the spot. 70 million US. Total worldwide was 130, almost 135 million.
Should have gone back to the 125.
Yeah,
it's like that's my baseline though, so that works.
So this movie made a decent amount of money. It made a good amount of money.
Yeah, and this one's one that we don't need a remake. We don't need a sequel. It's relevant as is now, and it is forever a classic in my opinion.
Oh yeah. No, it's this film is. I mean, even the cast. I couldn't imagine even replacing one person in this cast.
No, the Wachowskis definitely throw down when it comes to this type of stuff. So,
and I would. Well, we'll get there. We'll get there in my review.
All right.
So, you ready for ratings?
We can delve in. Let's dive in. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, his movie. So, my rating. Go ahead and start what I started to say. The Wachowskis. I think this is their best film. Period. I can't think of another film that they've done that I like more than this film. I love the feel of this movie. I love the action sequences. The fucking music is amazing. Every fucking character in this film, every actor in this film, very specifically Hugo is great. Stephen Fry is great. Even Natalie Portman, and you guys have heard me in the past really fucking be hard on Natalie Portman with some of her performances in other movies. This one...
What was the one that we reviewed that she was in that I even was like, she just ruined this?
Revenge of the Sith was one that I
really
that
tore
was
her
one.
apart. We tore her apart. She fucked that up horribly.
Yeah, no, and I mean she's not like the best thing in this movie, but she's definitely way better than a lot of Natalie Portman playing Natalie Portman in movies. But, but the actors in this film are just fucking amazing. You know, you got John Hurt, Hugo, you got Stephen Fry, you got Natalie Portman. Again, the cast is just fucking phenomenal. And go ahead.
I was gonna say that I just was looking at the Wachowskis after you said that, and they did that series I love called Sense8 on Netflix. They did fucking the Speed Racer.
I love the Speed Racer. Yeah.
And Ninja Assassin.
I
was a fan of. Yeah,
I'm a huge
but
fan.
yeah, this is the best. Yeah, I gotta agree.
And I say that. They have done a lot of films I like. I mean, the Matrix films. I'm a fan of the Matrix films, you know. But I think there's better films than the Matrix films that they've done, like this one, and like Ninja Assassin, like Speed Racer. But again, the score, the acting, the way this thing is shot, it is beautifully shot. This film is. I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. I will stand on this mountain until something else comes out that changes my mind. This is quite possibly the best comic book movie ever made. And Ryan is really thinking. He's really thinking right now.
We might have to do a top 5 for best our comic movie 5. Let's. I'm not going to get into this because this is a potential another episode.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not going to say it's the best, but it definitely has to be one of the best.
Okay.
We'll leave it at that. V for Vendetta is way superior to your MCU. That MCU universe is massive and it's incredible with what they've done, but as a one-off film, I would put V for Vendetta against any film in the MCU, and I dare you to tell me that any of them was better than V for Vendetta. I am giving this one a solid 4.9.
4.9?
Yeah.
You didn't go 5 on this one?
I wanted to.
But I can't.
I can't because of what Natalie Portman did in Star Wars.
I can't hold her accountable for another movie with this. So but I understand.
I look at her angrily.
You know,
I look
funny?
at her angrily, and that bothers me.
You know what's funny? So I have been thinking about this for a minute, and you know how there's the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon game? I want to start doing that with Star Wars and everything. Every movie we choose, it's going to be 6 Degrees of Star Wars. So we will figure out how to, but this one was too easy, obviously, Natalie Portman. But that said, I'll go into my ratings here. And let us know what you think about that 6 Degrees of Star Wars. Let's see if anyone thinks that's a good idea, and we'll humor it. But anyways, for me with this one, so I love every single thing about this movie except the fucking dominoes, dude. What a waste of money and effort. What the fuck was that even for?
Yeah, that was because every comic book movie did that.
But that was so pointless and unnecessary. Like the whole movie would be fine without it. Like not if you and I guess they had to bring in like I don't even know so many different domino builders who do those things for a living. Like just wasted money. But
so before you get to your review, and since you brought that up, I'm going to defend that scene.
Good luck.
Only now. Those scenes in the 90s and 2000s, you always had the comic book hero burn or do something with their logo towards the
I have
end.
a problem with that, too.
And I have a problem with that. And that is my issue with the V for Vendetta logo being with the dominoes. However, I think the V one is more clever because, to me, you're showing V actually put these dominoes down. And to me, it makes it feel like he's doing something that waste time until the time is there for him to do his final attack. And so that's the only way I'm going to defend it, is that was how I interpreted that. Now, I think it's a wasted scene. I agree.
It wasted 2 minutes of my life. And I just looked up the exact numbers here. It says there were 22,000 dominoes, and it took 4 professional domino assemblers 200 hours to do it. Fuck that. I would have deleted that scene in a second.
Imagine what happened if they fucked it up.
Oh, my God. Achoo! Anyways, all right, let's get back into my review here. I got off topic. So, this movie, that domino scene aside, is near perfect for me for a comic book movie. I put this up there with The Crow easily. Those are 2 great movies. The difference between this and The Crow, and I'll agree to you, is this might be one of the better comic book adaptations ever, honestly, is because this has too real of a feel. It is too much of a reality and a possibility if we don't start addressing things now. So I really, really, really love this movie. I don't want to see it come to fruition. I hope that it's treated with the seriousness that this movie deserves, because it's a classic, but it's also a reminder that people can't allow people in power to take advantage of and direct without being checked. That said, if it wasn't for the domino scene, I would have been a perfect 5. The domino scene, definitely.
Don't you copy me.
I'm not doing a 4.9, but I'll go 4.8. CineNerds for me. 4.8 nerds. But yeah, no, and we're right there. We're hand in hand. And this movie is an amazing movie. I'm really sad, actually, that I hadn't watched it since it first came out. But I'm also glad, because having fresh eyes on a movie of this caliber, it needs to happen sometimes. And this movie has... it's sickening to me when a movie is so much more relevant now than it was when it came out, because it's scary.
And to let you guys know, when he chose this film, and he told me, he's like, I haven't watched this since this movie came out. And I was like, really? Are you fucking kidding me? Really? He's like, yeah, I haven't watched it since it first came out. And I said, man, you're in for a treat.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and it felt good watching it all the way through. Man, it's weird too, because like we chose for this round, this batch, we chose Natural Born Killers and V for Vendetta, and I had my nighttime treats, and I was not 100% upstairs, but these movies engaged me so heavily that I was 100%, and I was so intrigued and hanging on to every detail, and man, what a treat! You're right. That's a good way to say it. I don't get to say that too often either.
Yeah, I know. And actually, I gave him a list of 4 movies to choose that I was that I had selected, and this was the one he chose out of the 4.
Yeah, I made fun of him then too for his indecision. I'm like, dude, can you just pick a movie? Like, don't give me options, just pick one.
But then he was also like, damn, those are 4 really good selections.
They are, but
I won't tell you the selections because I'm sure we'll do them.
Oh, absolutely, those are still good. Like we need to see those too.
Yeah,
I think. What was this? I think there's one I haven't seen actually. It was the older one.
We'll talk about it in a minute.
Yeah, okay,
we'll talk about it in a minute. Recommendations?
Yes. Hold on one second. I'll tell you.
I'll go ahead and do one.
Okay.
You go ahead and look up what you're looking.
I got it.
Oh,
you're good.
Okay. I've honestly been rewatching Supernatural, and so I'm just going to recommend Supernatural. I've watched this as it aired, all 15 seasons as soon as it started, and watched it as it aired. So I was always a huge Supernatural fan, and especially when it originally started, Kim Manners was one of the main writers with Eric Kripke, and I was a huge X-Files fan, and Kim Manners was one of the main writers for X-Files for years. So as soon as Supernatural was a series that started, I was on board because of Kim Manners.
So I think I fell off 3 seasons before it ended. Mm-hmm. So I could probably dive back in for those last 3 seasons because it kept becoming so repetitive.
The
at
last
that point.
few seasons get really good again, and it ends on a really cool note.
Well, and then I just recently saw and didn't know, it was very short-lived, but there's a prequel series called The Winchesters based on the parents.
Yeah. And there's an anime.
Well, I don't know about either of those, so I might have to go down those roads. But we're seeing those two come back around a lot. And so speaking of Mr. Dean, this asshat, I've been watching all the Smallville again because I had never watched through all the Smallville.
So you finally found it. You finally called up.
I'm past that, but I'll just tell you this: I had to get through midway through season 6 for it to get good. Because holy shit, I'm so tired of the fucking kitty drama.
Yeah.
Oh, anyways,
once it gets past the episodic episodes and the kitty drama, it gets so good.
There's definitely some structure happening that I'm starting to really like, but it's like, dear God, get to the point.
Yeah.
But I get they got to have a show and they got to have you coming back. However, far from that, I've got 2 recommendations. The first one is definitely the shining star here. It's called Ziam, or maybe Ziam. I don't know how you'd pronounce it, but it's a Thailand, or I don't know how you'd say it, Thai zombie film. Which I found on Netflix, and it is about a former retired Muay Thai kickboxer who beats the shit out of zombies through a whole movie. And this is a small contained outbreak that happens in a hospital. Kind of happens outward, but the way that it goes, there's him and this young little kid. The young little kid's trying to find his mom, who's a nurse in the hospital that the outbreak's happening in, and his fiance is a doctor in the hospital, and he's trying to get to her. So they become this unlikely team that tries to go through the floors and go up the floors to get to mom and the fiance, and it's pretty impressive. So check that out. And then the other one was a new one that popped on HBO Max. By the way, it's back to HBO Max if you don't know. It's called Freaky Tales, and this has a decent cast. It was weird because when I first watched this, it was presented to me as a Scott Pilgrim style show, and I was like, huh? Because when I watched it, it wasn't like that quite as much, but it's a collection of short stories that all connect at the end. And Pedro Pascal actually had Pascal. I don't know how you want to say that, but anyways, he actually has a story that intrigued me a little bit, and it kind of made me feel like, the Equalizer series, Denzel. Mm-hmm. It was a remake.
The movie,
yeah, the remakes. But I feel like I'd like to see Pedro in something like that, where he just fucking is this dude who gets revenge on people who've wronged him.
There is an Equalizer series.
Yeah, an old school like that's
a new one,
a newer one.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd watch that.
Yeah, it's like Queen Latifah or somebody plays the Equalizer.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah,
definitely fucking good on that.
I've heard it's actually good, but there's no fucking way.
Dude, like, you want to talk about fucking character swaps and weird shit. That's just, like, really out there. I mean,
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Queen Latifah. Hang on, I will look this up because it
Don't ruin it for me. I'm good. So I like the old school Equalizer and Denzel's version. I love those. Those are good. I don't think I can get on board with the Queen Latifah version, but I would like to see Pedro maybe pull it off, because Pedro, the character he plays in this, kind of has a similar vibe, and it's pretty awesome for when you get to his story. The first opening sequence, though, I don't see that's ruining it for me. I'm glad it's canceled. It's over at least. But anyways, the initial one is pretty cool, because it's these young punk rock kids that just want to go to a club and have fun, and they're all walks of life. They're every race, every sexuality, everything, and they're just being people having fun listening to punk rock music. And there's, of course, these Nazi skinheads who come into play. And they keep ruining the fun for them, and the punks decide to fight back. These stories all escalate and evolve, and the way they break out, it turns into a really good, the way it all comes together. I couldn't have been more happy about it. So I highly recommend checking it out. It's worth a watch.
Fair enough. I actually started that, and I ended up cutting it off as soon as I started it, so I need to go back to it.
Yeah, it's worth a watch, the way it all comes together. I didn't mind it. We talked about Pedro before too, but he's starting to become very monotone to me, and I'm not feeling it. Hell, Tom Hanks even has a little window in this Freaky Tales, which I was not expecting.
I'll have to go back and finish it, because I did start it. All right, so
CineNerdsPodcast.com.
CineNerds. CineNerdsPodcast.com. CineNerdsPodcast.com, where you can go check out all of our latest episodes, our schedules, our written reviews, as well as you can follow all of our pages, our letterboxes, our Facebook, our YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, etc. Leave a review, share. Please share on your social medias. There is also a shop there. And what can they find on that shop there, Ryan?
Product placement. I'm just kidding. If you're listening, I've got the mug in my hand. I keep talking about this mug. I cannot get enough of this mug. Definitely check out the mugs. We got t-shirts, we got hoodies, we got hats, we got koozies and keychains, and we're looking at a couple other items that we've done a live unboxing with. Not live, but an unboxing. And you guys might be intrigued by some of that. So, check it out, represent. And if you can't do the merch thing, that's cool too. Just share the shit out of this. We got to grow, we got to get bigger, and we can't do it without your help. So please, please, please share it.
Until next time.
Later.